Hey everybody, it's me Jarvis, and I'm making a video to update you on a previous video I made. So this is regarding the collectibles guru situation. I believe the man's name is Jake, also known as Crypto King. He is best known as being Logan Paul's Pokemon dealer, and he was featured prominently in the video I made about the $375,000 Pokemon deal gone wrong. If you didn't watch that video, it's pretty much what it sounds like. There was a big old deal for Pokemon cards. The very same ones that you had as a kid, except for now they're super expensive, so expensive that crime people are involved sometimes. And this was one of those times. This big old box of cards that was valued at like $375,000 turned out to be a fake. The whole thing was live streamed. It was very awkward. So that catches you up to the present. Jake watched my video and he didn't like it, which is, you know, to be understood. I kind of poke fun at him a bit, but I thought I was being pretty fair. So this weekend or a few days back, he sent me a few messages on Instagram, and because I always put a lot of thought into like how I frame and position stuff in my videos, even though it's all goofs, I wanted to hear him out and genuinely see like what his qualms were, whether or not I was being unfair. And it didn't go super well. And after seeing Pay Money Wubby's video about the conversations that he had with Collectibles Guru, I figured there would be some value in me sharing our conversation. I don't usually like feeding the drama, but I think that we can learn a lot from this interaction. I don't know if that's true, but I'm kind of just shooting from the hip right now, so let's see how this goes. Without further ado, let's get into the conversation that I had over DMs with Collectibles Guru himself. Hey Jarvis, you made an unbecoming YouTube video with many false claims. I'm not here to threaten lawsuit or name call. All right, let's stop it right there. I guess he's saying this because he opened his conversation with Pay Money Wubby by fat shaming him.
Are you the fat YouTuber who goes out of his way to create drama?
So he's giving me the grace of not name calling me, but he does mention a lawsuit. Nobody was talking about a lawsuit. Does he think that he has a case against someone who described events that were streamed live to thousands of people? Perhaps, but it kind of feels like an intimidation tactic to get my attention. And it worked. I did respond, so kudos on that. Strong intro, but it's not a move I would make. It's the kind of thing that somebody would say to unsettle you right before they make a really bad argument. And that's exactly what's about to happen. Just wanted to let you know your claims were false, and I would appreciate if you looked into the facts. My first reaction was, what claims are you talking about? Because I made a point of not making any claims in my video. I speculated, but I know better than to make claims with no facts or evidence. I did joke about calling him a scammer. So eventually the sellers arrive. I did do that. It's not exactly a claim. I think that given my history of comedy commentary videos, my audience knows that that's in jest, as other people who made similar videos are making new ones now that the truth has come out. So the truth is out. The truth is out there, and people are they're rushing to their cameras to correct the record, because it's front page news. Anyone who tries to talk shit, link that video. Bad timing on Wubby's release, as the real Pokemon people, Yizzy, did their research and cleared your name. Cleared your name? I'm a little confused. Was my name cleared in this video? I didn't realize I was involved. Also, I'd like to note that Yizzy is a person that I shouted out in my video as someone who helped me with my video. I also want to shout out a creator by the name of Yizzy. I consulted the real Pokemon people. I did do research. Now you're citing my sources back to me. Anyway, Yizzy's video includes screenshots tracking down the original owner of the boxes, allegedly, and includes some evidence that could suggest that that was the person who resealed the box. So I knew all of this information and had talked to Yizzy about it before I published my video. So this isn't news to me. If I didn't make this clear in the video, I want to make it clear now. We don't know for a fact what happened in this situation. We have a few accounts from various narrators, but only the people who were involved know for sure what happened. And that's not why I made my video. I made my video because it was an interesting story, and at the end of my video, I did say, in short, the Dumb Money guys were able to purchase a legitimate box from Mr. Guru. Dumb Money completed the sale. Guru found a different seller. Maybe I wasn't super clear that he made everything right in the end. I think the Dumb Money guys are happy. They seem like well-meaning guys. All of the stuff that I said about his story and how he presented it and why it didn't add up is true. Guru introduces information that I then poke holes in. It's not my fault that his story was inconsistent. I maintain that all of my observations about Guru's behavior in my original video were valid. Whether or not Guru is a scammer, which is, again, something I do not say in the video. I don't know the situation with the Guru guy. I'm not here to say whether or not he intended to do the scam. I, in fact, say that I don't know the situation with him. But what I do know is that he is an unreliable narrator, and the narrative that he gives in the video doesn't hold up to scrutiny. I sent Pay Money Wubby all the details so he could see the truth also. Well, we know based on Wubby's new video that he did not send all the details and very much did not see the truth.
He sent me all the information of how to contact this guy, and he even showed me some paperwork that apparently they had signed behind the scenes acknowledging the box was fake and there would be a full refund. He phrased all this evidence he sent me as, "This will clear my name." It really doesn't. I don't think it does anything other than prove that you and the seller both acknowledge that the box was fake. There's nothing in here that completely absolves anybody.
And Wubby did contact those people. That's in his video. I have no interest in contacting them because that's not the point of my video. I was reacting to a live stream that articles had already written about being this world record that was already hyped about, that was supposed to be this big world record deal, and it was kind of a disaster. I think that that's a fair thing to talk about, because if you want the notoriety of all these like publications writing about you and you're like, look at me, and then someone looks at you in a way that you didn't ask for, you don't really get to say, hey, like, correct all the, like, you looked at me the wrong way, like, correct that. It seems that Guru is simultaneously image conscious and completely unaware of the way that he's presenting himself in public. Your allegations hurt my reputation. I'd appreciate you at least doing more research in the future, because the exposure was nice, thanks, but I would have rather you ask for an interview to discuss it, as I'm transparent about everything from what I bought box A for to where I sourced box B to make it right with Dumb Money. He never calls Dumb Money Dumb Money. He just like says dumb $, which is kind of funny. And your claims in the video are false. Dumb Money, Chris, flew us out first class to open the box on live stream for a cash deal. That was the whole plan. That's fine that that was the whole plan. It doesn't matter whether or not it was the whole plan or not, because what I'm responding to is you saying the sentence, "I didn't know if you were going to open the box today," which is on stream.
I didn't know if you actually wanted to open it today.
What I was responding to was what you said in the live stream. It's like, how dare you not fact check me? How dare you take my word? And why would I ask for an interview? One, I'm not a journalist. I'm commenting on a event that wanted to be the biggest fucking shit in the world if you looked at how they were presenting it. And two, you've proven yourself not to be a reliable narrator, so what would I stand to gain by parroting back your own comments? So this is how he closes the initial message. You hurt my rep. Just wanted you to see facts, as I'm out $55K in my own money and $220K in profit, which is slightly different than what he told Wubby.
When I'm the one out $55K right now and $225K in profit.
But I do understand that he's saying he could have made money on the deal had it not been fake, but that's like counting your chickens before they hatch, right? Like if I had bought the lottery ticket that won, then I'm out millions of dollars. That's crazy. Give me the winning ticket. If you got scammed, you bought the resealed box. Like, you didn't do a good deal. You don't get to benefit from the good deal you did if you didn't actually do a good deal. If I had bought a real box, I would have profited on this deal. And it's like, yeah, you would have, but you didn't. Anyway, I'm out $55K in my own money and $220K in profit while everyone else is whole. I don't know what that means. Be well. I'll read my response for transparency, but keep in mind that I wish no ill will on this man. I was simply roasting a live event gone wrong with rich people. Like, you're fine. Like, what are you talking to me for? Just go make your deals. But if like you can no longer do deals because me as a YouTuber like took clips of things that you said and poked holes in them, that's a like is that my problem? So anyway, I responded, "Hey man, hope you're well," and that's true. I'm sorry to hear that you felt like I made many false claims in my video. Would you mind citing some of those claims? I would like to talk about it. Like, if I made some false claims, let me know. I did do my fair share of research and had Yizzy review it, the person that you're citing, before it went out, as a matter of fact. And then I was like, am I imagining things? I rewatched my video and I didn't make any really like hard and fast claims. I just kind of joked. And I was also responding to the chat who was very suspicious of him, and I was wondering why that was and what information they had about him, because I didn't have that information. So people since the beginning of the stream have just been assuming that this box is resealed. Even the buyer made a joke about that. And so someone in the comments is like, Guru knows how to reseal. And I'm like, how do these people know? How does everybody have this man's number? I just watched my video back, and I think several times I say I don't know these things for sure. I was just judging and theorizing based on the live stream in the chat, which was largely about the spectacle. I also mentioned PokerRev in the chat, saying how difficult it is to authenticate legitimate boxes, which was in your defense, which is true. You know what? Maybe this was all just a big misunderstanding. After all, the dumb money guys seem very well-meaning. It's just suspicious that everyone in the Pokemon community seems to think Guru is a scammer. I don't personally like have the tea, but you know, to play devil's advocate, there's a big Pokemon YouTuber named PokerRev who has actually mistakenly purchased a resealed box. And it was in the chat saying that it's really difficult to tell the reseals from the real thing. I do take any allegation seriously that I made false claims, though, and I can assure you all my criticism was intended to be in good faith. So please let me know more specifics about my claims if you can. Anyway, thanks for reaching out. I appreciate the feedback. I do. You know, if I'm making a mistake, I want to correct it. He just never gave me any hard evidence. Spoiler alert, he never tells me what false claims I made. But he does say, I received a flood of messages calling me a scammer due to your video when I was scammed and I'm still out money. You framed me in a negative light the entire time when I did nothing but correct an issue I didn't cause at my own expense. So a couple things here. One, did you receive messages on my behalf? Because that's something I also ask for record of and don't ever receive. If it is true that anyone in my audience is harassing someone that I talk about in a video, I do not co-sign that. Never do that. It's not how we conduct business here. We're looking at things, we're commenting on them, we're using good faith criticism, we're not trying to take like below the belt attacks, though it is fun to talk about why his head is so shiny. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. It's just a little bit of sprinkles on top of the main course, which is all meant to be in good faith. For future reference, though I have said this before, you don't need to defend me. I can defend myself, or I can ignore it, or whatever, and please never harass anyone on my behalf. I think that goes without saying, but I have said it a few times, and I have yet to actually see record of it happening, but I want to get ahead of that as much as I can. So even though Guru never sent me any screenshots or anything of somebody who was following me, for example, and leaving him a bad comment, there is like roasting of him that happens in his comments and my comments. It's just like you could roast me about stuff. You know, it's like that's not the same as harassment. And also, and this does not excuse any harassment that he's receiving, but it is hypocritical and I think relevant to mention that there are several records of Guru doling out the insults and harassment that he claims to be receiving. Like, for example, shaming Wubby,
Atkins, bro,
and a number of screenshots that I didn't include in my video because I didn't think it was relevant to the story because I was just trying to stay focused. But it's true that when I reached out to people about this man, I got nothing but receipts of him acting like an asshole on the internet. And I chose to use public examples of that rather than the private ones. It feels to me like a you can dish it but you can't take it situation, which will become a theme. You frame me in a negative light the entire time when I did nothing but correct an issue I didn't cause at my own expense. You didn't do nothing. You sold a fake box, or we're in the process of selling a fake box to some buyers in good faith. And there's a certain amount of responsibility that you have in that. It's not like, don't blame me, because if I bought a fake box of Pokemon cards for $1 and then I try to flip it for $375,000, it's on me for making that deal. We don't know the circumstances under which you purchased this box. So it's not like you were just minding your own business and this deal happened to you. You sought all of these things out. So I think that if you're to call yourself an investor or a guru, you have to own some of the fact that you're responsible for these deals. And I think that this video benefits people and makes consumers more aware at the end of the day, but you seem to only fixate on the money that you lost on your bad investment, which it's hard for me to sympathize about because you assume risk as an investor. And if you're getting mad at me for poking fun at your assumed risk, then maybe don't make your entire brand flexing your cash. Appreciate the response. You're welcome. And not once did you mention a positive, like the fact I made it right within 48 hours, or the reality that I knew we were opening the box and that was the purpose of flying in. Again, how was I supposed to know that that was like that you were supposed to open the box? Because you didn't say that you knew that in the video, and I'm just going off of what you said. And I did mention that it was made right within 48 hours. The Dumb Money guys were able to purchase a legitimate box from Mr. Guru. You made a lot of statements and spoke to no one in the actual transaction from buyer to seller. I mean, I spoke in the video, so I guess by definition, I did make a lot of statements, but it's not, I don't need to talk to the buyer and seller to talk about a live event. If like the Super Bowl halftime show is a disaster and I'm like, that was crazy, right? People aren't going to be like, you didn't talk to Shakira about this. That's, you should have asked what she thought. You shouldn't speculate to millions of followers when the result is my reputation damage and your speculations were unfounded and false. If you spoke to either of the parties involved, you would have known instantly. Here's the thing. I do the comedy. I make the jokes. So I know that the guy who had the gun safe was not a time traveler. So it must have been Mr. Time Traveling Gun Safe Man. So I don't need to talk to anybody to know whether or not I'm doing that in jest. I just refuse to believe that my commentary is what would cause damage to your reputation and not your own actions and behavior. How can you be concerned about your reputation when you conduct yourself the way you do online?
The Bulbasaur comment was taken out of context and Logan kept repeating it. I'm not retarded. I don't even collect Bulbasaur.
You can't be like, I'm concerned about my reputation and call somebody, be like Atkins, bro, and talk about pansies and pussies and, oh, and using the R word. That's going to damage your reputation more than I can for pointing out the inconsistencies in your own story. Anyway, he didn't, you know, he kind of dodged me asking for receipts. So I asked again. I was like, can you source some of that response you got, calling you a scammer for my audience? Because that's not okay. And that's not something I've ever heard of happening on my behalf. Because if I did, then I would talk about it because it's not okay. Then I mentioned that I didn't know that he was opening the box and cite the clip of his own speech. And I go on to just kind of refute things like I did say that the situation was corrected. I didn't really claim anything. Constantly, I'm like, I don't know what actually happened. Unfortunately, I disagree with the premise that I can't speculate on an event that was intended to garner attention from media as it did. I'm sure you saw all the articles written about the event. I went on to say, you know, I think long and hard. At this point, I don't know why I'm still responding because I'm clearly talking to a brick wall, but, you know, I've said my piece. I think long and hard about what I do and don't comment on. I still believe I was fair in my analysis. The speculation was founded for what it's worth. Because my speculation was based on what I saw, actually. It wasn't... I wasn't pulling it out of thin air. I went through all the possibilities based on available information and then offered my opinion. If you're making deals in public for the spectacle, it only feels fair that the public can form an opinion and comment on it. And then I'm like, If it's true that people are reaching out to you / harassing you on my behalf, that's not okay, and I'll definitely make a statement about it if that's the case. I've been doing this for a long time and have had far more strong takes on characters in the past, and I've never heard of that happening, and which is true. And he hearted that. He hearted a few of these things, and I'm not sure what it means. And I just say that I'll like make that right. As for commentary, speculation on a live event, I remain steadfast in my criticism that it was fair. I genuinely mean no ill will to you as a person. I hope that's clear. And I do genuinely wish you the best. I mentioned that you lost money on the deal. He said I didn't mention it, but I did. You know, I disagreed with him, but I'm trying my best to make it right. I'm just like, let me know what I can do. I just need some evidence that what you're saying is happening is happening. It would be nice if an educated, well-known member of the public took the time to research and contact the actual individuals versus negative frame and speculate. I mean, I've already addressed this. He just kind of like repeats himself a bunch. The video framing very negatively, you didn't reach out to me or the seller. It's like in every message. I would hope with someone of your level of respect and outreach would at least contact the parties involved. It's not like, I'm not a journalist. I've already talked about this stuff. Maybe a follow-up video highlighting the new facts or an interview where you can grill me once provided the facts. I see no value in that. It just seems like a collab to like grow his own profile. And you provided me with very minimal facts, and I didn't ask for any of the receipts because let's just say he didn't do anything wrong. All of his public actions are enough for my criticism to be fair of him. So that's kind of the point I'm making. It's like, he's so concerned about whether or not he's perceived as a scammer and not enough about whether or not people would want to work with him based on his behavior. And then he gives me his like list of demands for my video that I'm supposed to make about him. Anything that demonstrates I'm 1, not a scammer, and 2, made everything right at my own cost. I said that in the original video. I'm not here to say whether or not he intended to do the scam. It seems like he may have lost out on some money. If I'm gonna make a video about this, it's gonna include all of this information and not just me like clearing your name, because I don't have the ability to do that. Anything that you could provide me is circumstantial until there's some sort of like criminal process that looks into this. A bunch of like armchair forensic analysis is not going to solve anything. People have been harassing me by the hundreds a day because of you and and Money Wumby. You guys know how I feel about this stuff. He reached out to everyone and said he'd make an update video. I watched the update video and I don't know if you'll like it either. You don't have to, but a statement would be appreciated. Either way, be well. Just wanted to let you know I caught backlash when I was the one who was fucked over for a year's salary over 30 seconds. I can't help but feel like he keeps wanting to be framed as the victim here. And I've already said that like, there's a certain amount of responsibility that he should hold due to his position as a dealer, a guru, a seller, and also like weird flex, a year's salary over 30 seconds. It's like, cool, man. Cool story, bro. If you didn't know that was a possibility, then what are you doing making that deal in the first place? If you didn't want to take these risks, don't you come from the crypto world? Isn't that a far more volatile market than Pokemon cards? But if you don't want to worry about the volatility of all this, I'm sure you could get a nice job at a bank where you get to be around money all day and don't have to worry about this stuff. Then I'm just like, hey, bro, we disagree. I still want some receipts. I interpreted many of the clips in many ways. I understand that you don't like the way that you were covered, but you're a public figure doing world record deals in public. I typoed. Is that not the sort of attention you're inviting? Because I'm pretty sure it is. You're collabing with Logan Paul, of all people. Like, I'm sure you're aware of his history. I never called you a scammer, by the way. That was Wubby. Sorry, Wubby. And I actually don't think Wubby called him a scammer either. I can't remember. But I did it as a joke. So I will own up to that. I did like jokingly call him a scammer in a bit. So that was a little bit incorrect, I think. It may be best to remain quiet versus seeking clout and exposure. Is that so? How, pray tell, could you seek clout while also being quiet? No one's exposed for being quiet, but that's not even the point. I'm not seeking clout. I don't know who you are. Like, there's not really anything I stand to gain from seeking clout from you. If talking about events that happen in public and giving commentary on them is seeking clout and exposure, then welcome to my YouTube channel, buddy. And of course, a deal this large invited media attention, but most media or attention is intelligent enough to do research versus solely speculate. Do I even need to respond to this? I did. I said, sorry, I'm not intelligent, bud. Wish you the best. Cause you know, I didn't think he would respond to that, but he did. It's the clout chasing views while framing in a negative light without taking the time to derive an opinion. You could easily have sent, I mean, I did derive an opinion. That was like the whole of, You could easily have sent DMs to the parties versus speculate so you could add viewers. This doesn't make sense. He's a broken record at this point. Another interesting thing is that Wubby's video came out and he posted a screenshot of a conversation he had with Wubby. Hey, I said in the new video, I don't think you faked the box. You see the comments, scammer, you called Wubby fat, he exposed you by the hundreds. I didn't tell them to do that. Watch the video. I said, I don't think you scammed the box, homie. And he just shares this full screenshot and he's like, look, Wubby said I didn't scam anybody. I'm clear. It ends with hashtag facts, by the way. This isn't the point really for anyone. As soon as I had that conversation with you, I noticed that you posted this comment on Yizzy's podcast, who you previously cited as being a legitimate Pokemon person who knows what he's talking about. This is the wall of text that he posted, and no one is going to see this. Like, even if you posted it in my comments, which, you know, wait a second, because he did, the impressions on this sort of message is going to reach very few eyeballs. Your facts couldn't be more wrong. Take the time to discuss with the people involved versus running your mouth and speculating. Heard about this. Talks about sniper bidding. He's also been accused of inflating his own eBay listings. I have no opinion about that. It's a accusation that I have no evidence of. I have paid for every single item and spend 6 figures monthly. Regarding Leonhardt, 3 experts there said it was likely real. We plan to open it to prove. He's like so obsessed with like correcting the record on these things that are largely inconsequential. Leonhardt looked at it during the live stream and said it was likely real. I didn't see him say that it was likely real. I see that he said that he had concerns.
This is my biggest like, oh my gosh.
Me, I don't see any concerns with the outside.
My concerns are the ones that you were saying as far as, you know, right here.
Your points are wrong. You guys are trolling and chasing clout off an event neither of you could afford to be a part. Hold up, buddy. You hint at scammer, but you provide no facts. You're not providing facts for your hints. Stop hinting. I was scammed. And I unwound the error at my own expense. That's my favorite phrase in all of his writing. I unwound the error at my own expense. It's like beautiful. He sounds like a knight of the round table. I unwound the error at my own expense. Anyone can be sold a fake box. It takes a man, not a scammer, to unwind the issue at his own expense. Okay, now it's not as poetic. You were wrong and should be ashamed of how you framed me in this light. Which really wraps up like what he feels like he deserves from everyone who's talked about this incident. Like, how dare you frame me this way? You should be ashamed. And I'm not ashamed. I carry no shame about this because I didn't do the things that you accused me of. We're all just responding to how you framed yourself. And I do wish him no ill will. It's just like, I wish he was only, you know, barking up like me and Wubby's tree. That's a weird phrase. I only wish he was like upset at us, because when he's coming after smaller creators, then there can start to be like a weird power imbalance there. And I wish that if he had legitimate criticism to give, like he could frame it in a way that wasn't like insulting to the people he's trying to sway. If it was just me he was mad at, I would be more empathetic to the situation, because originally, like, I was responding thinking that he took specific issue with my video. But now it seems he's just on a rampage, because when I saw this comment, I was like, oh, that's funny. And then I looked at my own comments and saw that in the sea of comments, after we had our conversation, after we talked about how we disagree and I said my piece, he left this comment on my video. Your facts couldn't be more wrong. Huh. Why does that sound familiar? Oh shit, Guru has copy and paste and he's not afraid to use it. Take the time to discuss with the people involved versus running your mouth and speculating. Clearly, this is not to me, because he knows that I know all this stuff. He's saying this to the audience to hopefully garner some support, I assume. 3 experts there said it was likely real. We've talked about this. Is he typing it out again point by point? This is like a slightly different wording. Your points are wrong. You guys are trolling and chasing clout off an event neither of you could afford to be a part? Okay, this is the same. I'm pretty sure Leonhardt said he wouldn't buy the box. They asked him. I say that in my video and I play the clip. What's funny to me is that they asked Leonhardt if he would have bought this box and he was like, nah.
Well, would you guys buy it?
Okay, so honestly, I would not have purchased this box.
Did you watch my video or did you just copy and paste this fucking comment? Because it's exactly what you left on Yizzy's podcast. It's like, what are you doing, man? This doesn't make you look any more credible. All I'm trying to tell you is to just like take this in stride, say your own piece, provide evidence of the things that you're claiming instead of just showing up in people's DMs and in their comment sections barking at the fucking sky. Also, when you get upset, take a walk, have some tea, decompress a bit, maybe write a letter and don't send it. It doesn't matter whether or not you're a scammer, you're making yourself look bad. And I don't think that's what you want. And I wish you the best in this, you know, investment game. So anyway, yeah, I kind of just like rambled for a bit, but I felt like this would be at least useful to discuss because I think it speaks to some greater points in making commentary videos and talking about things on the internet and how I, you know, get comfortable with the concept of talking about something. I do do my research. I do talk to relevant people in the community. I will say that I received an abundant amount of support on my last video from the Pokemon community. And that was really cool. And so I want to thank all of you who are tuning in from there. Also, and maybe this is inappropriate, but Wubby did it in his video, so I'll do it in mine. I have some Pokemon packs. I've got a first edition fossil pack, got some second edition. I've also got one of these bad boys, and I have 4 unlimited base set booster packs, and I'm planning to open them because I actually like collecting Pokemon cards. And I think I want to open them on stream. Maybe I'll stream it on YouTube or something, maybe on the second channel. And I'll probably make a video about it as well. I've also got a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that I want to open. So it'll just be a card opening extravaganza. Let me know if you'd be into that because I think it'd be really fun for me. But anyway, thanks for watching this video. Again, I wish Jake the best. I hope he's able to recover all of the money that he lost, and I hope he has a long and fruitful career in the Pokemon community, and I hope that he can sort of make inroads and make friends and, be seen in a more positive light by that community. Couple of shout outs. You can go and listen to Yizzy and Not Shivam's podcast. You can watch Wubby's video that he did about this situation. You can also watch Pokerev, who is another Pokemon creator who actually took part in one of the follow-up live streams to authenticate the first edition base set booster box. He recently was the victim of a resealed box, and he kind of walks through that process on his channel. So he seems like a cool guy. And also, don't harass anybody. Okay, goodbye.